Greetings, I'm Bishop Dr. Ethan Ogletree. I'm delighted to come to you with podcast 2. Our scripture is John 7:38. Out of your bellies will flow like rivers of water. This is the Good Flow podcast, perpetual blessings to share and show you what God is doing in our lives. I'm delighted today and excited that I'm with Elder Avon Randle, who's one of the only launch and core member to still be here since we started. You need to, clap on that while you're sitting there listening. Listen, she's been with us. She's traveled to the Middle East with me. She's traveled the country with me. And we're thankful that she's been a part, her family and our family, with First Lady and many others to give leadership and direction. Remember this, we're doing the training piece we did about a month ago, the art of steering. By now, the news is out. By now, you know that God has us in transition, change. We are relocating. However, because we have 2 or 3 different cultures in the church, meaning one age group, a different age group, and then another age group. And now I'm a grandfather, even younger children. We have to make sure our history is good. Elder Randle, how are you doing?
I am great, Bishop. I am great. Looking forward to our next season, our next transition. It's an exciting time.
It's exciting. It's going to be interesting to see what color her hair looks like on this podcast. Elder Randle has been one of the forerunners of this ministry. And I wanted to ask you publicly in front of the audience, as you can give them your best, as we've done the art of steering. We know John Maxwell says that a leader knows the way, a leader shows the way, and a leader goes that way. Some kind of way he puts that together. How do you feel in our historical development of moving with God, us walking together? How do you think our history plays into that for the listener?
I think that's an interesting topic as when you start talking about navigation. In early 2000, we began meeting at your home in February of 2000. But even before that, when you approached me about starting the church, one of the things that you first gave me at a lunch, we had lunch at Wyatt's on Highway 6, and you had a binder that was 1.5 inches thick. And in that binder, you had everything that you could think of, the structure of our church. You had the structure for our CDC that we have. You had the entire operation, how we would flow, what we needed. And I think that was the beginning of our planning and moving forward. That was what began our navigation, because it was already planned. It was like the scripture says, to write the vision so that we can go with it, and it actually means so that we can actually walk through it and carry it. And I think that had you not done that, we would not have had such a successful beginning and to even get where we are here now. That was the beginning. You were steering the course, and you talked about me traveling with you. One of the things I would tell people early on when we would travel together, I said, watch Bishop. Back then it was pastor. I said, you move, when he moves, we move. And we be in the terminals waiting on planes, and you get up to make a move, And I was following you right behind you because you were navigating.
Yeah.
You were steering the ship. You were the beginning. And I think that even doing that, God placed you, when we travel now, God placed you in first class so that we are behind you, watching you.
Yeah.
And as long as you're moving forward, we're moving forward.
Wow, I like that. That's you good. You've always been very good with narratives, explaining church. Now we'll laugh about this one. This is an inside joke, trade of secrets. One time we were going to Israel, I believe, and Elder Randle, based on my instructions of listening to another source, Elder Randle and who else was that?
Elder Stephanie.
Elder Stephanie missed their flight in Europe, in Paris, France. And so, but regardless, because they were pre-ticketed, a later flight got them to their destination. When you follow leadership and you trust the history, you develop a trust, you develop some clarity and understanding that even if there's some tweaks in the road, if you follow simple instructions, radical obedience, miracles will happen. Can you help them understand your negotiating with yourself, but even leadership in the method of the madness when it wasn't clear all the time of our directions?
That's amazing. I think back, I go back to and look at Abraham's journey. When God told him in Genesis, the 12th chapter, the first verse, he said, take your family and go to a place. And I began to look at that journey. And Abraham, the first place he went to, he built an altar because he said, God is with me. But then he detoured and went to Egypt. In the 13th chapter, he's in Egypt, and he gets into all kinds of trouble. But when the Lord releases him to get back to Egypt, you know where he goes first? Back to the place where he built the altar.
Yeah.
And so I think that in our negotiating, we have to know that we are the church. And even though we will change our location, we will always be the same.
Wow.
We will always
Powerful
be who
statement.
we are.
Yeah.
And because of the navigation, and as long as we follow the leader, you told us something that was powerful today, is that you've given us the authority, and God has given us the power in order to move, to make this move, and to be disciples. And so oftentimes we have to negotiate, if that's word we're going to use, with ourselves, that we do have the authority, we do have that power, that dunamis power, that explosive power, in order to make this move. God has gifted us. He's given us a great visionary. And part of the problem with visionaries, and it's not a problem, but it's something we have to understand from me working with you for 24 years, is that you're going to throw out the vision, but then we've got to work the details.
Wow. Isn't that somehow God never gave Abram the details?
No.
And when we search scripture, many times he never gives the details. He wants to see if you can follow the instructions.
Simple instructions.
And just start walking in obedience. It used to be a term, we call it blind faith. And if we could just do that, if that is the case, I thank you, because I think negotiation is also internal, which side of the brain you want to listen to, or your ears. Who do you listen to, the different voices? How do our history help you explain to others our stability by providing proof that we walked in authority and power.
Oh wow, that's good, because when I thought about this podcast, the thing that kept going over in my mind was, how did we feel when we started? It was, to me, it was the best of times. And it was the worst of times.
Yeah.
Charles Dickens' quote from A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times because it was exciting, like it is now. And we knew that God had pulled this group of people, diverse group of people, because a lot of them were with you from your starting point.
Mm-hmm.
But then there were a couple of us. One came from out of nowhere, and then from our past association. So it was a matter of pulling this diverse group of people together in order for us to become the church. And it was challenging. But it was the best of times because we learned one another. And that's why I think it's so important that personality test that we just did.
Yeah, I know it.
We learned that there are some of us that are the same.
Yeah.
Like I learned the introverts like me.
Yeah.
And so there are those and so that has helped us. It helped us in that best of times, but it was the worst of times because of the unknown. Yeah. And then we did not know who we could depend on.
Yeah.
We did not know who would stay.
I think that is, a leader knows the way, shows the way, goes the way, but he does not say much about the follower.
Yeah.
And Abram heard God, and I'm curious as we talk about it, how did he get his wife and children, and servants, everybody to say, let's go? What did he say to his wife when he was about to take Isaac off to do whatever? What did Moses go through, the inner pain and trauma for the next generation? I want to ask you this before we depart, because I'm now in that chronological mature stage. What do we do to leave to the next generation and the generation after them that God is still able, but we help set the foundation for them to go forward?
I think we have to be transparent with the issues, the problems, the obstacles that we incurred in walking this. It looks like it does in Genesis 12:1 when God told Abraham to go. The next verse is, and then he went. And then 2 or 3 chapters later, we find that he ended up where God's intended for him to do. But there was a whole lot of different issues that went on. We don't know if he went in a circle. We know he didn't have a straight shot. It's not A to B, the shortest distance between 2 points. But I think that one of the things that we have to show is that we did have some obstacles, but this is a change. And if we approach it as being a change, we may not know exactly what's going to happen, but we have to adopt it, and then we have to adapt to it.
Oh, man.
And life is just like that, period. As we mature and grow older,
yes, ma'am,
we got more pains. And it just never ends. We have to keep going. My mother always said, just keep living. And we know that God said in Jeremiah 29:11 that he has a plan for us. And we just have to have the hope to always choose the plan that He has for us,
Yeah.
which is life.
Which is life. You taught me in the prophetic end out of one of the translations you liked about Jeremiah 29:11. We're going to let you go, but listen to Elder Randle, myself. She used the word 24 years, but I've been knowing her longer than 24 years, and I'm honored and thankful to God that we're still together. And then there's another group, you'd be surprised, who joined that first year. And people like the Graves, and people like Kim Lewis and Paulette Hightower, Donna Green, and Denise, and Marsha, and Daryl Elliott. It's many. Forgive me if I don't mention their names. The foundation is that regardless, by faith, we're blessing you, the children and the grandchildren, the other diversity, the other groups, that God did it for us.
Yeah.
We walk by faith. He can do it for you. Why don't you join New Destiny? Be a part of this great movement of uncertainty, the unprecedented, but to know that God is faithful. God bless you. We love you. Thank you, Elder Randle.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching. Get ready for podcast 3. Again, we want to just bless you. It's going to blow your mind. Take care.